no matter how many times I stand here and talk, I still get nervous. Hi, thank you so much, 1 Million Cups, for allowing me an opportunity to present. So I've had the honor of presenting at 1 Million Cups. I've presented in Cedar Rapids many times, actually, here also in Iowa City and in Des Moines. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for over 10 years. But my name is Kat Cantrell, and I'm a professional matchmaker and a dating coach. And if you would have told me 10 years ago that this is where I would be, I would have called you crazy. The Heart Agency is my life's mission. So I have made it my core mission in life to help people connect and to find a forever person and to help them find their true match. So that's a little bit about kind of why I'm here. So the reason why the Heart Agency is so important is because in the digital age, they're finding that finding genuine connections with other people, we are more disconnected than we ever have been. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. But as humans, the relationships we form with other people are vital to our mental and emotional well-being and even our survival. So being in relationships with other people boosts our self-esteem, helps us with empathy, regulates our emotions. Depression and anxiety lowers when we are in relationships and is imperative to help boost our immunity. In fact, they have done a study, they did a case study of 2 different types of people. Singles that were in a long-term relationship and then singles that were on their own. Both test groups underwent heart surgery. Those that were single died within the first 3 months after their surgery, 3 times more likely than those that are in a long-term relationship. The health of being in a partnership is so imperative, not only for all the other reasons, but for our health. We live longer. Yes, ladies, I don't need a man. You kind of do if you want to live longer. One of the things I tell women all the time is this self-sufficiency and self-dependency. And I don't want to get into, I get sidetracked about a lot of this, but it's what they call the dependency paradox. The dependency paradox actually proves science that when you're in a relationship with somebody, you actually become more independent. You are more willing to step outside the box, take risks, do things that maybe you wouldn't feel comfortable doing on your own with the support of a partner. So in all aspects, finding connection and finding a partner is so good for you. And that's why I'm here. So the Heart Agency, my job is to help people bridge the gap between loneliness and love, helping them find true connection. So I do that in a couple of different ways. First is helping people to stop swiping and to start connecting. I'm going to go into that in just a minute. So there's that. The second is I'm a little bit different than other matchmakers. So I have a method. I call myself a heart-centered matchmaker. And what I mean by that is that I help people find connection with themselves first. Because when people walk in, they have an idea of what they want, but they really don't get the clarity until they understand really what they need. And then third is helping singles understand their roadblocks, the way that they self-sabotage their dating lives and their relationships. They're really good at that too. So they do it in a couple of different ways. First, matchmaking, which is the top tier of my offering. So matchmaking is where I'm going out, I'm seeking out matches working in your best interest, in my client's best interest, and what I feel would make a great connection with different compatibility factors. Second is through dating coaching. So I'm kind of the Yoda of dating, the fairy godmother, the mom. I've even been told that I'm mom sometimes, like they can hear my voice in their heads when they're on dates. Again, to making sure that they're not getting in their own way and helping them understand as they're navigating their own dating lives, leaning in more to the yes and not so much into the no. And then the third is image consulting. This is something that kind of is involved with all of my services. So it's not that I want you to present yourself in a way that you're not. My one of my gifts is being able to help people see them the way that I see them, helping their insides shine outwards and how they present themselves. So it's not that I ask you to be something that you're not. I'm not a makeover show where you're going to come walking away like wearing something you would never wear, but to help see yourself in a completely new light. So pre-COVID, post-COVID, there's a lot that's happened in connection. May of 2023, the Surgeon General did a full report. Loneliness is now an epidemic. People are dying of loneliness. It is more prevalent now than it ever has been because of the digital age, I'm convinced. And I have a couple of stats for you. I wish I could memorize them, but here we go. And they're kind of earth-shattering, honestly. So they did the study. They found that due to loneliness, that 29% of people have an increased risk of heart disease, a 32% increased risk of stroke, a 50% increased risk of developing dementia for older adults, and lacking social connection increases risk of premature death by more than 60%. People are dying of loneliness. And so the Surgeon General came out with this huge report begging communities to develop real life opportunities for people to get out of their homes and to connect in real life. Pew Research has said that now it's post-COVID, that 63% of singles say that dating is harder now more than ever. Because I get this all the time. Why do we need dating coaches? Why do we need this? We have online dating. Let me get to that. So the impact of technology. You would think during COVID, right? We had Zoom, we're all connected, we're talking to each other, but technology has actually really hindered connection. It has, in singles, it's increased addiction. The comparison, the way that technology, the way Instagram and Facebook, people are now in a comparison game. People are now so afraid of connecting in real life. So technology has forced people to stay inside, that they're not leaving their homes. Technology, they did a survey. 50% of people say they now have psychological issues due to technology. 48% have sleep problems. 45% have social problems. 42% of people say they have difficulty forming relationships in real life. 42%. And 41% have difficulty with focus. So I'm in the people business. I've always been in the people business. So my job is to get people to people again. I say that all the time about my events. I hold speed dating events and I have people come and connect. And I'm like, look, it's not about you finding your person per se. Let's practice. Get out, sit down in front of a complete stranger for 4 minutes and have some great conversation. Online dating is a $3 billion industry. Billion. There's like 5, I think, parent companies that own all the apps. So you think there's a new app? It's not really. It's either owned by Match or one of these other companies. Online dating. So I met my husband online dating, but 10 years ago. There wasn't the dopamine overload that's going on right now. So with your Instagram, your Facebook, all of those things, when you get that like, when you get that comment, when you get that word of affirmation, you get a kick of dopamine. We get addicted to the dopamine. Singles are getting addicted to the dopamine that online dating is providing. So much so that there's a couple of things that are happening. But before I go into that, only 10% of long-term relationships meet each other online. 10%. They don't want you to know that, but that's what the real science says. So online dating, what happens is you have a paradox of choice. Who's heard of the paradox of choice before? So let me give you an example. You go to the grocery store, you're like, man, I really need a great jar of peanut butter. You go to the grocery store, there are 20 jars of peanut butter. How do you know which jar is going to be the best jar that's going to make the greatest sandwich? This happens with online dating. This gives people the paradox of choice. As my single is on a date with somebody, they're already thinking, is this the best I can get? Is there somebody else out there for me? What else? Who else is in my inbox when I get home? It gives them this false sense that they have so many choices, so much so that they don't make any. The paradox of choice paralyzes people to even decide whether or not they want to have that connection. There's also FOMO. Is this the best I can get? If I pursue a relationship with this person, is there someone else that's better, prettier, more successful, more handsome that's out there? Online dating has changed how we date. Singles are complaining now more than ever about the disconnect, about not being able to connect to other people. And with online dating, part of my job is to tell them that is it a way to meet someone? Yes. Is it the only way to meet someone? No, it's not. So, and matchmaking. Matchmaking was something that actually found me. And the way that I do it is very organic. And the way that I feel is helping them the best from the inside out. So with matchmaking, it's a little bit different. With online dating, there's no vetting process. You can go to iReports online, I guess. You can find out if there's anything on there. You could. But I used to do that too. Don't get me wrong. But with matchmaking, I'm working in my client's best interest. I'm finding great people who are looking for the same things. So with the way that I do it, is that I start working with my client, they undergo a series of tests. We really fine tune of what it is that they're looking for. And then I start the process and I vet each match. And with each match, they go through a rigorous interview process. They also get tested. I do 3 core tests: values, personality type, and love style. I'm not gonna get into all those. To see the compatibility, those tests, are they the be all end all? No. Do they show to me the longevity of the relationship? Yes. So not only am I based on their values and who they are, but they also get tested. And then my match also pays for their own background check. So now my match has invested their time and they invested their energy. So my client feels good and feels solid about it, that the person that's sitting across the table from them is somebody who's also highly interested. There's a lot of hand-holding, but it's because I'm having to reintroduce what connection is. And before each date, they get a 30-minute call before and a 30-minute call after, where I'm like, don't you get in your own way. These are my rules. This is what you need to do to have a successful first date. And then after the date, I get to know my client even more because their match is going to give me feedback. Because people only tell you what they want you to hear. Mm-hmm. So I get feedback on these dates where I'm like, okay, can we talk about what happened here? And to use these opportunities as growth opportunities. Dating coaching. With matchmaking, they get dating coaching too. Sorry, it's part of the process. I've had some people come into my office that they just want to come in with their laundry list. And I'm like, oh no, you get coached first for the first month. And they're like, I don't have time for that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You're not my person. I'm here to help people have this awareness, this understanding, this clarity. So with dating coaching, it's kind of like I'm sitting on your shoulder. I help singles actually online date wisely. I help them understand really what's important, because with online dating, it's a vanity metric, right? It's an algorithm. So you think that online dating is delivering to your best matches? Well, guess who the user is? So if you're swiping and seeing a pattern, in fact, science has told us that with online dating, singles have admitted that who they swipe on and what they want do not correlate. They're like, oh, this might be fun. This might be fun. And then they have really bad dates. And I'm like, well, what's going on? So I help singles understand really what's important for online dating and help them present themselves. We do a photo shoot. I help them with their bio, really, so that, because I see them in the way they deserve to be seen. And so I help them showcase that with online. I have a big screen in my office, and we literally will swipe together. And if they say no, I go, why? Why no? Why are you saying no? Why are you not saying yes? Part of with dating coaching too is really getting clarity about your attachment style, about your love style, about the things that are really important to you. And so I kind of take them on this process of hopefully taking them from no awareness to so much awareness within themselves. And also hopefully help them find their person. And most of the time, 90% of the time, the connections that I've made, singles have said, I would have never said yes to this person. So the last is image consulting, which is, again, my job is to help them shine from the inside out. I have a client who decided to have gastric bypass surgery through the pandemic, lost 100 pounds. She has not gone shopping, has done anything for herself since then. So she hired me and I said, you know what? I want to do this with you. And I took her shopping and dressed her in clothes that she would have never picked. But to watch that energy with her from going from these kind of frumpy clothes to something that was form-fitting and made her feel great and made her feel wonderful, changes your whole outlook. Dating, a lot of what dating is confidence. Doesn't matter your body type. Doesn't matter, none of that matters. What matters is how you carry yourself, and how you believe in yourself, and how you feel good about yourself. I hate to sound so cliche, but it's about self-love, really, first. Loving yourself enough to know your value, to know your worth, and to be able to present yourself in the inwards, outwards. So I've had some very, I've been very lucky that the clients that I work with are just the most, they're so willing to learn. I try not to get choked up. I apologize. They're the most warmest, kindest people that are just like, I know when people come to me, it's like they've tried everything. And even though matchmaking, I know you've seen all the shows, I know you've seen all of that. But in my world, I'm so fortunate that I get this privilege to be in this very intimate space and the one of the most important thing in our lives, which is love. And I always say there's two things in this world. That when we leave our house when we're 18 years old, there's two things that are assumed. Number one, that we know how to manage our money. And two, that we know how to attract healthy relationships. If we grew up in a home that our parents didn't know how to manage money, if we grew up in a home where love really didn't exist, how do we even know how to manage our money or how to attract the love that we deserve? We have no idea. But yet, these are the two things in life that have the most stigma of asking help for. So I'm trying to change that script. So yes, I've had these incredible opportunities to work with these clients, and I've seen these incredible transformations from before and after. So how can you help me? You can spread the word that I exist and help me stop the stigma. Help me re-educate people what this industry and what I represent and what it's all about. I'm very lucky. I belong to the Matchmakers Alliance. The Matchmakers Alliance is actually an alliance of over 400 matchmakers all over the world. And we hop on calls every month, and we're there to encourage and help each other, because we all know that we have our own little flair. We all know that we attract different types of people. And so we're here to support one another, all in the name of love. When we go to conferences every year, and I'm actually going to La Jolla to get my love MBA in just, I think 5 weeks. So I'm really excited about that. So this is the scan code. If you know a single, if you know somebody, so I have what I call the library, because one of the questions I get asked is, how do I find my matches? So I have a library, it's free. They just put up their photo, enter a couple of things, their birthday, a couple of things that they're looking for, and that's it. And when as clients hire me, I go to my library because, again, it shows me intent. It shows me that somebody's looking. And I mean, what an incredible experience to be set up by a matchmaker. Because I can guarantee you two things. Number one, by working with me, you're going to have an experience of a lifetime. And number two, you're going to walk away with so much more clarity just about yourself. Can I guarantee love? I wish. But I can certainly guarantee the love that singles find for themselves. That I can guarantee. So this is where you can find me. I probably went over my 10 minutes, so I apologize. I'm very passionate about this. But I do have a podcast that's called Dear Matchmaker. It's ranked the top 5% globally. So I have an international dating coach. So I have clients that are kind of all over the world. So with dating coaching, so that's incredibly, it's so amazing to me. But so here are all the socials. My website's theheartagency.com, and yeah, that's it.
Where can we listen to the podcast?
Oh, all the streaming. Just type in Dear Matchmaker and it's there.
Questions?
Yes.
So is there any age range for the matchmaking? So, I'm a portrait photographer, so I have so many people, they come to me and they want to have picture for their dating profile.
Yeah.
But many of them, they are kind of older, and I have more women than men. I think men, maybe they think, yeah, if I have a picture in the bar, whatever, I can cut the other people and put it there. But women, at least they take time to come and have a professional pictures. But most of them, they are kind of older ladies, either they got divorced or they lost their partner, and they are not very tech savvy, that they say, or they don't care about. I'm like, so do you have more of your client, they are younger or they are older or they are female or male? So
Yeah, it's a great question. So, I'm probably about 50-50, honestly, 50% men, 50% women. In both dating coaching and matchmaking. So I would agree with you. Society says that gives women permission to ask for help. There's something, a stigma about matchmaking for men, that they feel that they should be able to do this on their own. So it is a little bit more of a pushback. I would agree with you, men. My youngest client is 31. My oldest client is 62. So they're just kind of all ages, all walks of life, and all speaking, the same thing. And I find that there are a lot of single men out there. If you've ever seen me at a networking event, I'll always be like, hey, any single men, let me know. I'm always looking for great single men to connect them with my female clients. So to your point, I wish that more men would change their photos. That would be great.
yes.
Their photos are terrible.
I asked the group before, because again, for my business also, I want to say 95% of my clients, they are female,
Yeah.
and maybe 5%. And I don't know how to speak to men that, hello, you guys need to have a professional photos for whatever. And like,
Well,
especially for the dating.
yeah, so there's a couple statistics. So women only say yes to 6% of profiles. 6%. And women only spend 8 seconds on a profile, men only spend 3 seconds. So it's all image, right? So it is in a woman's best interest, of course, to have great photos of her, to be able to. And I try to teach women to actually be more forgiving with men, because I always have this thing about men in photos. It's very socially acceptable for women to go out in groups, take selfies, take group photos, that kind of thing. But men don't do that. I have a son that's 25. They literally schedule like photo shoots with each other for their online profiles. Like they'll go out disc golfing and they'll be like, okay, take my picture and take, so I can like get a picture of me like doing this. So men just don't naturally have photos out in the wild the way that women do. And so I think just teaching men that women only say 6%, say yes to 6% of the profiles, might encourage them to get some professional photos so they can get more. Men say yes to 50%, by the way. Women say yes to 6%. So women are more picky. They are. But that might help a little bit, just to educate them on why it's important to update their photos. So, yeah. Yes.
Kat, I have 2 things. So first, I'm very familiar with the U.S. Surgeon General's report on loneliness. It'll probably come up in my presentation in a couple of weeks. And so kudos to you for what you're doing to make that connection. This is so cool. It's so needed. So definitely appreciate the niche. I am a support person for a family member who has a long history of choosing the absolute wrong people.
Yep.
And she is not ready for this yet, but I'm curious to know what's your screening process for like major red flags in people?
So, so during the interview process, the first thing I ask not always, but the way that I have people describe themselves is, how would your friend describe you? So we start there, like not even in their own words, but and how others would describe them. And as people talk about themselves, there's a couple of things that will pop up that I feel is, could possibly be a red flag, because one of the key components of a successful long-term relationship is having a growth mindset. If people come in and they're very much set in their ways, it's my way or the highway, they have to fit into my life, like the way that they describe is very much telling me, okay, there's no room, there's no flexibility here, there's no room to be able to be wrong. That's one way. It's just kind of listening, not only the words of how they describe themselves, but also how they describe basically their method, their ideas, their values, what do they value in life, those kinds of things. Another thing is when people are very set in physical attributes. I just don't. I always tell them, I'm like, I'm not that kind of matchmaker. Like, I'm not here to help you with physical attributes. Because chemistry can grow. I can do a whole segment on chemistry. Chemistry can grow over time. It's been proven to. So, I mean, to me, for your friend, if she was in my office, so science says that what we're attracted to and what we have chemistry with is what we're familiar with a little bit of a twist. So she's saying yes to the wrong people because she feels that that's her value. Sometimes people are attracted to what's familiar to them as they grew up or a parent or whatnot, and they try to change that script and try to change that narrative and try to prove to themselves that they are deserving and earning of that love. So that it's not necessarily them, like, yes, there's red flags, and even if they saw the red flags, it's them understanding their value and their worth, that even when that first red flag starts to pop, that they go, okay, not for me. And I think there's a difference between preferences and red flags. Red flags are behaviors. Preferences are like the car that you drive, clothes that you wear, that kind of thing. So to me, I really just pay attention to how a person talks. And if I have somebody who's in my office who's like wanting things that I don't feel that are not within my line of work, then I just say thanks, but no thanks.
Good, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm curious about your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
How was it that you fell into this, and how, like, your background, what resources did you use? What would you tell someone that's trying to start a business today? That's a lot of questions.
That's a TED
You can,
talk.
like, yeah,
But
it is, you should do a TED talk, actually.
yeah, it's been, for those that have known me for a long time, it's been quite the journey for me. So to answer your question, to me, there's about your gifts, your talents, your strengths. So one, just to put my entrepreneurial hat on for a moment. If you have not taken the Clifton Strengths, are you familiar with Clifton Strengths? If you have not taken that, I highly suggest that you do. I think it's like $49 or something to understand what your top 5 strengths are. So that can give you a lot of clarity, of kind of, and that's kind of what ended up happening with me, was that my previous business got shut down because of COVID, and it was a very public shutdown. And organically, because I was coaching women about self-love, self-confidence, finding yourself, where's your spark, which really goes hand in hand with dating. As COVID was underway, I had more and more single women approaching me because they knew the relationship I had with my husband. And I had one woman in particular, the summer of 2020, because I was coaching women on self-love and all the things. who came to me, who said, I'm hiring you for this one thing. I'm going to hire you to help me find what you have. Get me that. And I was like, what? And so I started coaching her on dating. She's now engaged, lives in California. And organically, I had all, because I was single for almost a decade. I was on all the dating apps, I did all the things, went on blind dates, made a lot of mistakes, got out of my way, and figured out how I attracted my husband into my life. And so why was I not helping other people with that? With all of that knowledge, and because I learned by experience. This is how I'm programmed. I have to live it in order to teach it. And so why not take all of that information and to be able to take it and to benefit others? And plus my skill sets of my Clifton strengths. My top 3 Clifton strengths are woo, which is winning others over. Surprise. Number 2, positivity, and 3, empathy. What are the 2, like the things that people need most in dating? Positivity and empathy. So I try not to get attached to my clients, but I can't help it, but I can see myself in them. And I think that there's a special gift that comes with that. And so organically, I started helping people with dating and just dating alone, and was finding such huge success. And then the next thing I know, I had more and more people going, well, are you a matchmaker? Are you a matchmaker? And I was like, wait. Because I've been an entrepreneur that people tell me what they need from me. And you have to be open and willing to listen to that. And so I pushed it away for a very long time, even just dating coaching. Because in my previous business, I had women coming to me going, can you just coach me on dating? I'm like, I'm not coaching, I'm dating. And here I am. So listening, and then just listening to what people need from me, and then leaning in. And so searched if there was a matchmaker in Iowa. There's not. There's one that's based in Omaha that serves Des Moines. But there's not an Iowa matchmaker. And if there's a need and people feel that I can fill that need, and I was able to find it myself, because there's a lot of pushback with matchmakers. Can you be a matchmaker if you're single? No. Maybe not. I mean, I was interviewed on a podcast recently where she's like, do you interview men and then you just take the best ones for yourself? I'm like, I mean, I could see why people would think that. So yeah, so organically I started matchmaking. There was a definite need post COVID. People were disconnected. I knew that I could help, and so I just leaned in, and here I am.
What sorts of events are you doing?
Right now, it's just speed dating, honestly, because I find that there's more. When I have mixers and things like that, there's no, like, people want something when they leave, and so speed dating, the thing I can guarantee is there's gonna be connections that are gonna be made. My last speed dating event, I had 60 singles and over 40 romantic connections that were made that day. Because you have Uber connectors, you have some people that are great at connecting. And so they'll connect with 4 or 5 singles. And I'll just, I'm like, have fun with your first dates, So yeah, that's pretty much my thing. Yeah. Thanks.
So how often you have your matchmaking group, the speed dating?
Oh, I try to do it every other month.
Okay,
Yeah, every other month, and I'm trying to get into the Iowa City market.
okay.
So I've been having them in Cedar Rapids, but there's people that are driving from Dubuque, from Davenport, from Waterloo, and from Iowa City that are coming to my events. So there's a definite need for it. It's just finding those right connections. So, yeah. Anything else?
Any other questions?
I need some of your cards.
I got those. I got those.
I'll have to listen, but is there a matchmaking component to your podcast, or is that marketing for you and your agency, or?
It's just education, dating education. So basically helping singles get knowledge of different things, red flags, green flags, and I interview I have great experts on there that I bring on, and because I'm not a therapist, right? So I don't necessarily dig into past and that kind of thing. But to me, what I do is just create awareness. And that's really, I find that that's really one of my soul missions, is to help as many people as I possibly can, just by sometimes just creating that awareness. So, yeah, thanks. Yeah.
You said you're going out to California to get your love in the end?
Yes.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so there is a very well-known matchmaker in the industry. She's been a matchmaker for over 30 years. Her name is Rachel Greenwald, and she's like a best-selling author, and she hand selects matchmakers every 10 years to come in and to earn her. Basically, she calls it the Love MBA, where I come in and basically get more knowledge and understanding of how I can better serve my people with better knowledge. And so and with other hand-selected matchmakers from all over the country, so all over the world. So there's only 20 of us that have been selected. So yeah, I get to go to La Jolla and undergo this very intensive 2-day training. And then, yeah, I get to have. my
Congratulations.
Hey, yes.
And La Jolla.
Very exciting.
How long is a typical client in your system?
Oh, that's a good question. It varies. So when I have a client and I am going through my library and I'm reaching out to people, I have to always send this very awkward text, which is, hi, it's Kat from the Heart Agency. I have 2 questions from you. Number 1, are you still single? And number 2, are you interested in possible interview process? And I would say 30% of the time, they're not single anymore. Because, and that's good. I always say, I wish I wasn't in business in this way. Like, I really wish I didn't have to be in this position. So I want people to be in relationships. So I would say probably about 30% of the time people will say, oh, I'm not single, so I'm not coming. And then 3 months will go by and they'll go, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm single again. So let me know when your next event is. And that happens. Because the honeymoon period is usually about 3 months. And then after 3 months starts the power struggle, and that's if couples are able to survive that. So, yeah. But the relationship I have with clients could be anywhere between a month, or I have a client right now in Portugal that I've been working with for a 1.5 years. So.
Do you ever just say, you know, it's not working for you?
You're a love, Steve. There are, that's very, yes, there are people that are not willing and not open to understand, and so they're not matchable. Like, if you're not willing to be vulnerable with yourself, to be able to be that open, then I can't help you, right? So I think that everyone is lovable, but they have to understand that they have to have that knowledge and understanding within themselves. And so if they feel that, if they come in very closed off, I will tell them, I can't help you. I just can't help you.
Can I ask you one more question? As I say, I'm a portrait photographer. I have many people, they come to me for the purpose of, or maybe not for dating profile stuff, but they, like, we talk and then it end up that, oh, they are single or they are, so do you have information about, do you have like a packages or pricing or stuff on your website?
Yes.
Or- Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So I can look, and if they ask me, then I say, okay, so the cost is okay.
Yes, yeah, if you go down to the Q&A, there's a big section of Q&A that I try to so that people don't feel like they have to ask me questions. It's down there in the Q&A.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Yes.
Any other questions?
As a matchmaker, what do you think of those cultures where the parents line up the pairs? Arranging marriage.
Yeah. There's methods on why they do that and why it works. And I can see how it could work for people. Have I had parents contact me? Yes. Will I work with parents? No. Because one of the things I tell my singles all the time, your friends and your family all have filters of what they think you need. That's why I'm always like, do not go to your friends for dating advice, especially on married friends. Good grief. Like, everyone has their own agenda on who you should be with. And when I work with them where I'm like, we're not asking your friends, we're not asking your family, you yourself. Because I think a lot of people will date according to what they think other people want them to date. And that can get extremely dangerous, and meaning like inevitably there's, most likely the longevity of the relationship is not there. So I understand why they do. I actually have two clients right now that are Indians. That one of them, her parents are working with an Indian matchmaker right now, and she's hoping that she can find him first here in America. So no pressure, but yeah, I mean, I can see why it does it, because science tells us that the less we know about somebody on a first date, the more likely we're gonna have a connection. So what I do with my matchmaking is that they don't know each other's names. They don't know they know details, but they don't even know names of each other. When they show up, the reservation is in my name. So when they meet each other for the first time, they're learning each other's names. They're seeing each other. I do not share photos either, because photos can create a narrative. And then when you meet the person in real life, it can kind of burst that bubble. So I try to take away all of that so that, and hopefully to enhance connection as much as possible on that first date. Even after they leave the first date, even if it's a great connection, I ask them to not exchange last names and not exchange phone numbers. Not until after the second date, because one of the things we complain a lot in matchmaking is that texting kills the initiative. When you're getting to know somebody, texting can sometimes kill that relationship. So I just take that, I become a little bit of mom, I know. But just get rid of that until after the second date. And then after the second date, if there is enough of a connection, then with my client, I move from matchmaker to dating coach. So I make that transition with them and help them and coach them in this relationship that they're starting to with their new person. So that's a great question. Yeah, I can understand the perks of it, but I don't look at it. So.
Do you track your success rate? And do people ask me what your success rate is?
Yes.
For the money to get involved.
Yes. What do you do? I mean, people have different determinations of what success is. So I have a client who's never dated before. He's 31, never dated. He's coming to me for guidance, understanding, clarity, and to help him on dates. Get in front of people women that I feel that he's compatible with, and then we can talk about it. And we worked together for 6 months, and even though we didn't find him his match, his last match he dated for 6 weeks, and it just didn't work, and that's fine. But to me, that's success. If I can put a successful match in front of you and they start to get to know each other, that's a match. Whether it ends up being long-term relationship, marriage, because I tell people all the time, you're gonna learn so much about yourself in that process. And that in my 5 months of working with him, he's his whole aura has changed. It's just he's almost a completely different person. He's like, I know that I haven't found my person, but I've received so much value from this. I'm gonna hire you for another 6 months, no matter what happens. So now we're starting our next 6-month contract. So to me, that's a success. Is marriage a success for people? I mean, sometimes not, right? Can I be in a relationship for 2 months when I've never been in a relationship before? Is that a success? So it's really, when we talk about success, I get asked that a lot, and that's always my answer. It's an individual, what their own individual definitions of success. So have I been able to successfully match all my clients? Yes. Have they completely worked out? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But they've all walked away with huge amounts of value. And to me, that's what's important. So, yeah, it's a good question. Thanks.
I was wondering, do you work with people of all different types of sexual orientations and things like this, or?
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, right now, just to be honest with you, I'd say 98% of the people that come to me are straight, but man, would I love to help all communities. Yeah, I even did, try speed dating, not this year, but last year at the brewing, gosh, what is it? Big Rock, yes, yeah, I did, pride speed dating just to help people connect, so, yeah, I would love it, but that's a great question.
All right, our traditional kind of question, you kind of told us this, so what can, as a community, can we do for you?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you guys for just listening to me rant. You're doing a good job. So passionate about it. I think just spreading the message and just really about the Heart Agency and what it's all about. And that just know that there's other options. And to join the library is completely for free. So there's no financial obligation. And come to an event. Just, yeah, spread the news, so, yeah.
Do you marry people in your library? Just kidding. I know
Um,
they're on dating apps.
do I, yeah.
I'm not thinking I
you know
wanna be
what,
there.
That's,
I was wondering where it should go.
Tinder actually came out with a report, two thirds of Tinder profiles are people that are married. 2/3. And 50% of singles on Tinder confess that they had they're on there, but they don't have any intentions of ever meeting anybody. Like it's just a dopamine, attention seeking, kind of like, am I attractive enough kind of thing. Do I have people that enter my library that are looking for something casual? Yes. Do I immediately email them and remind them what the service is and how I'm not in the business? Yes. Have I had people approach me about polyamory? Yes, but that's not the business I'm in. There's other, I mean, yeah, there's other matchmakers that can do it kind of big. I'm not, that's my thing, but yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys.
This has been great.